There's a rare group of souls walking this earth right now, souls who were encoded at birth with a vibration so powerful it can dismantle illusions or rebuild worlds depending on how it's used. This isn't metaphor. This isn't fantasy. This is energetic law. And most who carry this frequency don't even know it. Why? Because when you're born with this kind of vibration, the world doesn't celebrate you. It fears you. It misunderstands you. It resists you. Your power doesn't look like dominance, it looks like contradiction. You're soft and fierce, quiet but unshakable. You love deeply but won't tolerate lies. You walk into a room and something shifts, but you've never been able to explain why. And that's because you carry a vibration that both destroys what's false and heals what's true. Welcome to the secret frequency that only rare souls are born to hold. The first sign is strange, but unmistakable. People are either magnetized toward you or instantly uncomfortable. There is almost no middle ground. Some feel safe, like they've known you for lifetimes. Others feel threatened, defensive, even angry, and you haven't said a word. You could be minding your own business, but your aura is already doing the talking. Because your vibration doesn't just exist in the space, it reorganizes it. You carry a frequency that disrupts distortion. That means people who are hiding from themselves will feel exposed in your presence. Not because you're judging them, but because your energy field is raw truth. And truth brings either liberation or resistance. So when people react to you in extremes, don't take it personally. It's not always about who you are, it's about what your frequency is doing to theirs. The second sign is emotional volatility, but not in the way you think. Your emotions aren't unstable, they're amplified. You feel deeper than most. You process faster. You transmute heavier energies. This isn't a flaw. It's a feature of high voltage frequency. You were designed to move energies through your system like a spiritual filtration device. You cry, not because you're weak, but because your tears clean the field. You rage, not because you're out of control, but because your fire burns through energetic parasites. You feel grief that isn't yours. You carry joy that can't be explained. And this intensity is exactly what makes your vibration capable of healing timelines. But if you suppress it, it turns inward and becomes self-doubt, fatigue, or illness. You weren't meant to suppress. You were meant to conduct. So I ask you this, are your emotions breaking you or breaking something open through you? The third sign is that you've never fit into linear systems. School felt like a cage. Jobs felt like a slow death. Even some spiritual communities felt off. Why? Because your vibration refuses to be boxed. You are a multidimensional being, and linear systems are built to contain, not to liberate. That's why you've always felt like you're too much or too intense. Because you carry a frequency that can't be domesticated. You don't follow rules for the sake of order. You follow resonance. You don't care about being right. You care about being aligned. And the more you try to force yourself into old structures, the more your body and soul will rebel. So if you've been feeling like your life is breaking apart, ask yourself, is it breaking down? Or is it breaking open so that something more aligned can emerge? The fourth sign is that your words carry weight even when you whisper. You've probably noticed it. You say something from the heart, and suddenly someone's crying. You tell the truth, and the entire room goes silent. You walk into an argument, and people start rethinking their entire worldview. That's not coincidence. That's energetic transmission. Your voice isn't just sound, it's frequency delivery. When you speak from alignment, you don't just communicate, you recode. And that's why your words can either heal or destroy. If you're speaking from ego, your words can cut like a sword. But if you speak from soul, your words become sacred medicine. So be mindful. Your vibration is so rare, it carries authority in the unseen realms. You don't need to shout. You need to remember your tone is a tuning fork for the entire field. The fifth sign is that you've always had an unexplainable connection to the unseen. You feel things before they happen. You walk into a space and instantly know whether it's clean or haunted. You get gut feelings that turn out to be prophetic. You've had dreams that later unfolded in real life. This isn't just intuition, it's frequency intelligence. Your vibration is so rare, it gives you access to a multidimensional spectrum of information. You don't need external permission to tap into source, you are the channel. And that's why you've been doubting yourself, because you've been taught to trust logic. But your power isn't logical, it's quantum. So if you've been trying to rationalize your gifts, stop. Your knowing is not meant to be proven. It's meant to be embodied. The sixth sign is that you are both a mirror and a magnet. You reflect people's deepest truths back to them, even when they're not ready to see it. That's why some people project onto you, blame you, distance themselves. But simultaneously, you magnetize people who are ready to evolve. People who want to be around you without knowing why. People who feel calmer, clearer, or more activated in your presence. That's because your frequency doesn't just reflect, it amplifies. When someone is ready to level up, your field becomes a catalyst. And when someone is clinging to the old, your field becomes a threat. This dual effect is not a flaw. It's your design. You were built to activate movement in the stagnant. And sometimes, that means being the storm before the clearing. The seventh sign is the most sacred of all. You've been through hell and you didn't lose your heart. You faced betrayal, abandonment, spiritual crisis, and emotional collapse. And still, you chose to keep loving. Still, you chose to grow. Still, you chose to show up. Why? Because your vibration doesn't just destroy what's false, it resurrects what's true. You are the rare soul who can walk through fire and come out with healing in your hands. You don't just survive darkness, you mine it for light. And that is what makes your frequency so rare, so powerful, so desperately needed. Because this world doesn't need more noise. It needs reminders of what's real, and that's what you are. Not by force, not by effort, but by resonance. So I ask you now, and I ask it from a place of deep spiritual challenge, if your vibration has the power to both dismantle illusions and restore truth, what are you still afraid to touch with it? Because the world is already responding to your field. And the question is no longer whether you're powerful. It's whether you're ready to stop pretending you're not. The silent earthquake, how rare vibrations reshape reality without ever needing permission. There is a sacred kind of power that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't show off. It doesn't perform. It doesn't chase validation. It simply is. That's the kind of power your vibration holds. It doesn't ask for permission to exist. It doesn't need applause to prove its worth. It moves in silence, and yet it reshapes entire realities. You're not the loudest in the room. You're not the most polished. You may even doubt yourself constantly. But when your energy shifts, the field rearranges itself. Conversations change. People change. The atmosphere thickens with something ancient and alive. And you felt this, haven't you? Even in your most insecure moments, something else inside you remains untouched, unshaken, uncompromising. That is your true self. And that is the silent earthquake of your rare vibration. This vibration isn't something you learned. It's something you remembered. But for most of us, it came through suffering, through loneliness, through breaking down. Because only when everything else was stripped away could we feel what was always there. This vibration is your essence before the trauma, before the masks, before the programming. It's the soul signature that doesn't just participate in reality, it bends it. You've always known this, even if you've forgotten. As a child, the world seemed too loud, too fake, too limiting. You weren't rebellious for the sake of attention, you were allergic to illusion. And now, as your soul matures, that same frequency is returning with greater precision, greater power, and greater responsibility. Because your vibration doesn't just affect you, it alters the timeline of everyone around you. Have you noticed how people's lives change after meeting you? Maybe they finally leave a toxic relationship. Maybe they quit a job that was draining their spirit. Maybe they start crying and don't know why. Maybe they start healing without even realizing you triggered it. That's not coincidence. That's resonance. You didn't tell them what to do. You didn't even try. You simply existed in your frequency. And that frequency became a mirror, a message, a permission slip for their soul to wake up. And here's the deeper truth. When your vibration is rare, it becomes a living transmission. You don't have to preach. You are the teaching. That's why you feel exhausted after certain interactions. Not because you're weak, but because your vibration is doing work most people can't even see. Let's go deeper. Your rare vibration can destroy and heal, but only if you've made peace with both forces inside you. If you're afraid of your power to destroy, you'll suppress your truth. If you're addicted to your power to heal, you'll become a savior and lose yourself in rescuing others. Balance is everything. The destroyer in you exists to clear what no longer serves. It's not evil. It's sacred fire. It burns illusions, codependency, manipulation, and egoic control. And the healer in you exists to restore what's real. It brings coherence, calm, clarity, and remembrance. But the shadow side of this duality is dangerous. If you're not grounded, your destruction can become reactive. Your healing can become enabling. That's why your inner work is non-negotiable. You must become the master of your own voltage. This is why you've been forced into solitude at different points in your life. Your soul needed space to stabilize your signal. When you're constantly around others, especially those who aren't doing their inner work, your field gets pulled in multiple directions. Confusion builds. Your clarity fades, and you start doubting what you know. That's why isolation, though painful, has been essential. In the silence, you recalibrate, you remember, you return to your own resonance. And once you're anchored in that, you can walk into any room and hold your frequency no matter what's happening around you. That's when your vibration becomes unshakable. Not because you're forceful, but because you're centered in the truth of who you are. And in a world addicted to performance, nothing is more disruptive than real presence. Let's talk about thresholds. There are moments in your journey where your vibration hits a new frequency, and suddenly, your old life can't hold you anymore. Friendships feel misaligned, environments feel heavy, conversations feel hollow. And you wonder, did I outgrow everything? The answer is yes, but not because you're better. Because you're different now. You've become incompatible with distortion. That's not ego. That's physics. When your frequency rises, everything in your field must either rise with you or fall away. That's why things collapse after spiritual upgrades. You're not being punished. You're being recalibrated. And with every collapse comes new space for relationships, missions, and opportunities that match your new voltage. So if your life is falling apart right now, ask yourself, what is my vibration clearing space for? The final realization is this: your rare vibration is not yours to keep. It's yours to share, but not in the way the world taught you. You don't need a stage. You don't need a platform. You don't need to convince anyone of anything. You share your vibration by being fully alive in it, by walking into rooms without shrinking, by speaking truth when silence would be easier, by choosing love even when you've been hurt, by embodying your essence without apology. That is how your frequency heals. That is how your frequency destroys, not by force, but by authenticity. And in a world starving for realness, your authenticity is revolutionary. So I ask you now, if your vibration is already changing the world without you trying, what could it do if you stopped holding it back? Because you were never just here to live a good life. You were here to shift the collective field, and all it takes is one fully embodied frequency, yours. The hidden cost of carrying a rare vibration, why most people will misunderstand you until you stop needing them to. There is a cost to carrying a rare vibration. It's not loud. It's not glamorous. It's not the kind of cost people see or understand. It's invisible. It shows up as unexplainable loneliness, as being misread, as feeling like you're always too much or not enough, sometimes both at once. It shows up in the ache of being deeply connected to everything, yet struggling to feel fully met by anyone. You walk into rooms and feel everything, but leave feeling unseen. You speak truth, but are often misunderstood. You offer healing, but are accused of wounding. And this is the paradox of carrying a vibration that can both destroy and heal. Until you fully accepted yourself, others cannot mirror the truth of who you are. They will see your light as a threat. They will interpret your clarity as criticism. They will translate your love as intensity. And none of that is your fault. The world doesn't know how to categorize people like you. You're not here to soothe the egos, but to awaken souls. You're not here to play roles, but to burn through them. You're not here to be agreeable, but to be authentic. And authenticity, in a world built on performance, is often seen as rebellion. That's why you've been labeled difficult, intense, too sensitive, or too honest. You scared people not because you were dangerous, but because you refused to participate in the lie. You carry a vibration that holds a mirror to illusion. And most people would rather protect their illusion than face their reflection. So they project, they attack, they pull away, and you're left wondering what you did wrong. But the truth is, you didn't do anything wrong. You did something rare. You stayed true to your frequency. This is why one of the most painful initiations for those who carry this vibration is letting go of the need to be understood. We all want to be seen. We all want to be loved. But rare vibrations are not meant to be understood by the collective, they are meant to change it. And sometimes, that change begins as friction. Sometimes, the people closest to you are the ones who resist you most. Sometimes, you'll have to walk away from relationships that cannot meet your truth, not because you failed, but because your soul is evolving faster than their fear can catch up. This is not cruelty. It's alignment. And the deeper you walk into your purpose, the more you'll realize being misunderstood is not a sign you're wrong. It's often a sign you're ahead of your time. But here's the deeper spiritual truth. When you stop needing others to understand your vibration, you unlock its full power. As long as you're trying to be palatable, you're diluting your frequency. As long as you're seeking approval, you're editing your essence. And every time you collapse yourself to be loved, you teach your nervous system that safety requires self-abandonment. That is not love. That's survival. And you didn't come here to survive, you came here to transmit something this planet has never seen before. That requires sovereignty. That requires self-trust. That requires being so rooted in your own resonance that even when people walk away, you stay with yourself. So I ask you now, what part of your vibration are you still dimming just to be accepted by people who don't even see you clearly? And when you finally stop dimming it, something miraculous happens. The people who can see you start to appear. The ones who don't fear your depth. The ones who don't flinch at your clarity. The ones who feel safe in your power, not threatened by it. These are your soul mirrors. They may be few, but they are real. And when you meet them, your nervous system will recognize them instantly. You won't need to explain yourself. You won't need to shrink. You won't need to prove. You'll just be. And they'll meet you there. But you can't find them until you become the version of yourself that no longer performs for love. The version that no longer negotiates with your truth. The version that knows your vibration doesn't need to be explained, it needs to be embodied. This is the final test for those who carry the rare vibration. Can you love yourself even when the world doesn't get it? Can you keep showing up even when people misread your intentions? Can you keep vibrating at your highest frequency even if it means walking alone for a while? Because the collective is shifting fast, and the world is finally catching up to the frequency you've been holding all along. The very vibration that made you feel like an outsider is becoming the medicine the world is now starving for. The same depth that once felt like a burden is becoming your signature. The same truth that made people uncomfortable is becoming your offering. You are not here to fit in. You are here to be the future in the present. And those who can feel it, they'll find you. They'll thank you. They'll remember you. So I leave you with this final question, not to answer with your mind, but to listen to with your soul. What would your life look like if you stopped waiting to be understood and started living as if your vibration was the very thing this world came here to evolve through? Because it is. And the moment you accept that fully, the world will begin to resonate around your truth. Not because it finally gets you, but because you finally stopped needing it to.